You carry a label inside you that most people almost never think about. A single letter that sits quietly in your veins until the day it suddenly matters more than almost anything. A, B, AB, or O. Your blood type. If you've ever given blood, or needed it, you know it can be the difference between life and death. Because pour the wrong type into someone's veins, and their body will violently reject it. And here is the strange thing. We treat this as a simple medical fact, a box to tick on a form. But hidden inside those little letters is one of the deepest mysteries in human biology. Why are we divided into different blood types at all? Why would nature give us blood that can kill one another? Start with what a blood type actually is. Floating on the surface of your red blood cells are tiny molecules, little chemical markers made of sugar. Think of them as flags planted on the outside of each cell. If your cells fly the A flag, you are type A. If they fly the B flag, you're type B. Fly both, and you're AB. Fly neither, and you're type O. That's the whole ABO system, and it comes down to which of these microscopic flags your blood cells happen to carry. Now here's why it can be deadly. Your immune system is trained to recognize your own flags as friendly, and to attack any flag it doesn't recognize as an invader. So, if you're type A, your body carries defenses against the B flag. Give type B blood to a type A person, and their immune system sees those B flags as a hostile army and launches an all-out assault, making the blood clump together in dangerous clots. For most of history, no one understood this. Blood transfusions were a desperate gamble that often killed the very people they were meant to save. Then, at the very start of the 20th century, a scientist named Carl Landsteiner discovered that human blood comes in distinct types and that mixing the wrong ones causes this violent clumping. It was a revelation that made safe transfusion possible and eventually earned him a Nobel Prize. Landsteiner had cracked the how, but the deeper why remained. Because think about how odd this really is. Evolution tends to be ruthlessly practical. So why would it split humanity into groups whose blood is chemically incompatible, whose immune systems will attack each other's cells? What could possibly be the point of that diversity? For a long time, it looked almost pointless, an accident with no purpose. But the leading answer today is as elegant as it is unsettling. Your blood type may be a weapon, and a vulnerability, in an ancient and endless war against disease. Here's the idea. Those little sugar flags on your blood cells aren't only visible to your own immune system, they're also visible to the countless germs that try to invade your body. And it turns out that many pathogens, bacteria, viruses, and parasites interact with these blood group flags directly. Some germs use them as handholds to latch onto and infect your cells. Others are blocked or confused by them, which means your blood type can quietly tip the odds for or against you when a particular disease sweeps through. The clearest example is malaria, one of the deadliest diseases in human history. Research has found that people with type O blood have a real advantage against the most severe forms of malaria. The parasite causes infected blood cells to clump together and stick to blood vessels, a process that drives the worst, most lethal symptoms, and this dangerous clumping happens less in type O blood. So in regions where malaria has raged for thousands of years, having type O could be life-saving, which may help explain why type O is so common in many of those parts of the world. But, and this is the crucial twist, no blood type is a winner across the board. Because while type O protects against severe malaria, studies have found that the very same type O makes people more vulnerable to severe cholera, another ancient killer. So the flag that shields you from one disease exposes you to another. And this is the key to the whole mystery. Because different diseases favor different blood types, there is no single best type for a human to have. In a world full of malaria, O thrives. In a world full of cholera, other types do better. And so, across the shifting landscape of human disease, all the types survive, each with its own strengths and weaknesses, none able to win completely. there's an even deeper layer to this. Germs evolve, and they tend to get better at attacking whatever blood type is most common because that's the biggest target. This gives an automatic advantage to whoever is rare. If type A becomes common, diseases that exploit type A spread, and suddenly the rarer types are safer. It's a perpetual seesawing arms race, sometimes called a Red Queen dynamic, in which no type can ever dominate for long, and the diversity itself becomes the defense. Being different, in this view, is exactly the point. And here is a piece of evidence that makes this genuinely convincing. The ABO blood types are far older than humanity itself. Our closest relatives share them. Chimpanzees carry versions of A and O. Gorillas carry B. The split between these blood types dates back tens of millions of years, long before humans existed, and it has been preserved across species for all that time. Traits usually don't survive that long unless something is actively keeping them around. The sheer antiquity of our blood types strongly suggests they've been maintained, generation after generation, by exactly this kind of relentless pressure from disease. Now, blood types are more than just ABO. You've probably also seen a plus or minus sign attached, your Rh factor, which is yet another flag on your blood cells, named after the rhesus monkey in which it was studied. Rh status matters enormously in pregnancy, where a mismatch between mother and baby can cause serious problems, and why Rh-negative blood persists at all, despite that cost, is a puzzle scientists still haven't fully solved. Blood, it turns out, is layered with these hidden markers, each with its own story. And in fairness, the full picture is still being worked out. The malaria and cholera links are well documented, but the exact web of diseases that shaped every blood type in every population across all of human history is enormously complex and not completely understood. Some of the diversity may have other explanations we haven't pinned down yet. What most scientists agree on is that the pattern is too ancient, too widespread, and too tightly linked to disease to be a mere accident. There are smaller wonders folded into all of this too. The proportions of blood types vary from region to region across the globe, a living map of ancient migrations and the diseases our ancestors faced. Type O red cells can be given to almost anyone, making O the so-called universal donor, while type AB can receive from anyone. You cannot change the type you were born with, and yet you carry it entirely unaware until the moment a hospital, a pregnancy, or a stranger in need of blood makes it suddenly matter. So, the strange truth is this: your blood type is not a random label or a meaningless quirk. It is a tiny badge from an ancient battlefield, a flag shaped by millions of years of war between humans and the diseases that hunt us, kept diverse precisely because no single type could ever protect against everything. The very thing that makes our blood incompatible may be the thing that helped our species survive. So the next time you see that single letter on a form, or a card, or a hospital wristband, A, B, or O, and you think of it as just a simple medical fact, remember what you are really carrying. Not a label, but a survivor's mark, an ancient piece of armor in a war older than humanity, quietly riding in your veins, waiting for the day it matters. Such an ordinary little letter, and such an extraordinary one,